Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Oxnard City Council Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting for November 26th. Madam Clerk, can you take the roll, please?
Member Zaragoza?
Here.
Member Valenzuela?
Present.
Chair Perello?
Here.
We have a quorum, and the agenda for this meeting was posted in the City Hall Bulletin Board on November 19, 2024.
Thank you very much. Will Mr. Anthony Miller please lead in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have a one public speaker, but there is an issue with the ability to speak. And I appreciate that we've gotten a public speaker on items not on the agenda for the Public Works and Transportation Committee, Mr. Stephen Suter. So he has sent a comment in, and I told him I would read it. His comment is, I am speech disabled and would like to leave my concerns so that I do not hold up the line when it is my turn to speak. I would like to address the issue of Dodge Road. And there is something with respect to Dodge Road and crossing a bridge. There is also a problem with internet access beyond Dodge Road. I trust that my city will look into it. And I don't know that we can fix it, but he'll get an answer. And I appreciate that very much. And Mr. Suter, thank you very much for sending this. Is there any other comment, Madam Clerk?
Chair Perello, there's no additional speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, the consent agenda. The City Clerk Department, approval of the minutes. The recommendation that the Public Works and Transportation Committee approve the minutes for November 12th, 2024 regular meeting as presented. Are there any public comments on this item, Madam Clerk?
Chair Perello, there's no public speakers on this item.
Do the committee members have any comments to make on this item?
None at all, sir.
Move the approval.
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk, a motion by Mr. Valenzuela, a second by Mr. Zaragoza. Please take the vote.
Member Valenzuela?
Aye.
Member Zaragoza?
Aye.
Chair Perello?
Yes,
Motion passes 3-0.
thank you. The next item on the agenda, under reports D1, Public Works Department, subject, annual purchase order for Site 1 landscaping of landscaping supplies specifications number 25-11. The recommendation that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommends the City Council approve and authorize the purchasing agent to execute an annual purchase order with Site 1 landscaping from December 18th, 2024 through December 17th, 2029 for a total not to exceed amount of $1 million for landscaping supplies. There is a Measure M presentation, but there will not be a presentation here. The party identified as possibly reporting is Mr. Michael Wolf. Do we have any public comments on this item, Madam Clerk?
Chair Perello, we have no public speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Okay. My committee members, do we have any questions or?
One quick question, is after reading all this, I know that the city does a lot of repairs, and needs a lot of supplies for landscaping and so forth. It's my understanding that then instead of having numerous suppliers and going to the store per se to buy the materials, that you have one vendor that can supply all those items that are needed as required. Is that basically more or less what we're looking at here?
Good evening, committee. Yes. So that particular part of the report is to focus in on having a supplier that, much like a division might go to a specific supplier for plumbing supplies. They might have a single vendor for the items that are specialized in that manner. We were looking for something similar in regards to landscape supplies, yes.
Good, good. I think it'd probably save us a lot of money and time running around. Is that basically what we're looking at too, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, I not much more to say, Mr. Chairman. So.
Councilman. Okay, the only question I have is in this item, we describe some of the types of material, and one of them, I believe, is mulch, unless I'm reading this wrong. Is the mulch, and mulch is in this item, correct?
Mulch, insofar that it is a possible landscape supply that the vendor could have available. However, the main focus for this solicitation was for a broad range of landscape supplies. So things like, your landscape edging material, items that are like stakes, things along those lines that are primarily used for planting projects or new landscape installations. Things that may normally be more expensive or not necessarily available at areas that are stores and vendors that are more generalized. That was more the direction of the solicitation. So while mulch is available and that is a landscape supply, it wasn't exclusively sought out for this particular solicitation.
Okay. And in all openness, I see that I jumped the gun and mulch is the next item.
next item.
So my apologies. This is something that we need, we use, and it's above board. There's nothing funny about this. I'm appreciative that our staff keeps us informed, writes a complete and thorough report. And if there's any other questions or not, do we have direction from the committee?
Move approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please take the approval by Zaragoza, motion by Zaragoza, second by Valenzuela. Please take the vote.
Member Zaragoza,
Yes.
Member Valenzuela,
Aye.
Chair Perillo,
Yes,
motion passes 3-0.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Miller. The next item on the agenda, Public Works Department, subject, Agreement 325-00260 with North Hills Recycling for on-call engineering fiber, mulch, and bark delivery and services, specifications number PW24-133R. The recommendation that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize an agreement with North Hills Recycling for a term of 1 year from December 18th, 2024 to December 17th, 2025 for a total contract amount not to exceed $500,000 for on-call engineered fiber, mulch, and bark delivery and services. Again, there is a Measure M presentation available for the public to look at, but it will not be shown here. The item has, and it's a nice presentation. Madam Clerk, are there any public speakers on this one?
Chair Perillo, there are no public speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions?
Couple of questions to you. Do they deliver the mulch and the bark and so forth to the areas that are needed?
Yes, so this solicitation was specifically for the service of actually installing either delivery or physically installing the material where it needs to be.
And I understand that fiber, mulch, and bark are used to reduce the frequency of watering those mediums, which I think really helps us with the water problem, which I think it keeps, according to your report, retains soil moisture, suppressing weed growth. How does it suppress the weed growth?
A thick enough mulch layer up to 3 inches can suppress weed growth because it restricts light.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So if a weed is to germinate and it's underneath the mulch, it doesn't get the sunlight that it needs to grow, and it prevents it from growing as quickly as it might otherwise.
And I like what it says. It also maintains a well-groomed appearance of the landscape areas, which is great.
Yes.
So this is. I understand that there was Garcia also bid for this, and also the North Hill Recycling Company. So you had one or two companies that bid for this, right?
We did receive a number of bids. Garcia's and North Hills were the two that were deemed responsive to the solicitation.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. Just two questions, and I'd like to point something out. We did receive more than 2 bids. We actually received another bid from Agrimon, but due to the thoroughness and the looking out for the public's good, welfare, and treasury, we found that that particular bid was rejected as not properly submitted. In the future, we've done business with them. I'm sure that they will, address that. But I do appreciate that we address who's bid and the amount of those bids. My question, coming from an ag background, oftentimes people will clean fields and a lot of the stuff, whether it's trees or say taking out lemon orchards or avocados, and they bring a big tub grinder in and they grind everything up and then they sell it. But in the process of cleaning the fields, they pick up all the other assorted, often called noxious weeds, Bermuda, kazua, all kinds of different things, and they mix it in, and when the stuff is spread, no matter how thick, all of a sudden those weeds they sprout and they take root. When, in the best process, when you're buying something called mulch, the mulch is cooked so that the weed seeds and the weed is killed. Do we check for that?
So I believe in the report, and if I didn't specify this, we might be able to address this when it goes to council, but the mulch that's being provided needs to meet certain certification standards. That's within the scope of the solicitation. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what that certification is, but that should be, they need to be certified as clean.
Okay, that answers my question, because I know that one of the companies that was rejected because of the method they did that, one of their sales pitches is that the stuff is cooked and cleaned and you don't have a problem with it. I do appreciate that we're taking care of this, and that's the only question that I had. Is there any further questions?
No.
If not, I'll move the recommended action on this. Do we
Second.
have this? Madam Clerk, please take the vote. And Perrello made the motion, Valenzuela seconded it.
Member Zaragoza?
Yes.
Member Valenzuela?
Aye.
Chair Perrello?
Yes,
Motion passes 3-0.
thank you. The next item is D3. The subject, Public Project Agreement 325-00241 with Black Point Group Construction and Management Incorporated for on-call fencing minor repair services, rebid number 2. Specifications number SD 24-130R2. The recommendation, the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend the City Council approve and authorize an agreement with Black Point Group Construction and Management Incorporated for a total amount not to exceed $600,000 for a 2-year term of on-call fencing repair services, fencing minor repair services. Again, there's a Measure M presentation for the public to see. Do we have any public comments on this one, Madam Clerk?
Chair Perrello, we have no public speakers virtually or in person for this item.
And I'd like to start the questions with this one point. In the subject matter, it states fencing minor repair services, rebid number 2, end colon. Just can you explain why we have rebid in there for the public that didn't take the chance to look at the video or read the staff report?
The first solicitation package, I apologize now that this is not a question I was expecting, but I'll have to look into it. I believe we didn't receive any responsive bids for the first package, but I'll have to look. And I do know that there was some minor changes to the scope when the rebid solicitation was done.
Thank you.
So, Chair Perrello, just to clarify that when we go through a solicitation, there's potentially several reasons why we would rebid a process. And so one may be we didn't get any actual proposals for it. Another one could be that we get proposals, but they all have to be rejected. So there could be multiple reasons why we would go through a rebid process. We keep track of that so that everybody knows what the right solicitation that we're working on. So the purpose of actually explaining it is such that everybody knows that we're talking about the second or third solicitation. So it just keeps us on track.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
They have, on slide number 5, talks about the city received 2 bids, which are cumulative total of the bid items and hourly rates for both scheduled and unscheduled. And then Black Point says $643.50. That's that hourly number? And then the other one, factory says, Fence Factory has $2,385. Are those hourly rates, so what are those numbers then?
So that is a composite hourly rate, so it's basically all hourly rates for all categories combined.
So 643 cumulative, is that, Michael?
Correct.
So if you don't mind, if you look in the package, you'll see the bid sheet. And so we have identified certain activities either by hour or by quantity, and we require them to put a price in there for that. It may be a price per hour, it may be a price per quantity. And the way that we are soliciting this is that we would then base the award off the summation of those bid amounts listed. So this is not producing an hourly rate. This is a culmination or a combination of all the bid items put together so that we can make a true comparison between bidders.
So once you compiled everything, then Black Point came out with 643 compared to 2,300.
Yeah, based on they bid the same bid sheet, and they put their best price for each one of those items, and then we'll sum those up, and that's the comparison.
That's quite a range difference. Yeah, interesting. When I read it, I thought, geez, well, that's a pretty good hourly wage. Yeah. So.
And just with some of the members of the public that ask a lot of questions about this, and this is for the city attorney, this is appropriate the way we're addressing this, the way this public works manager described it. Yes?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For those that ask all these questions. Any other questions?
No.
The board? I don't have any. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
Move the approval?
Okay. I'll second it. We have a motion by Valenzuela and a second by Perello. Please vote, call the vote.
Member Valenzuela?
Aye.
Member Zaragoza?
Aye.
Chair Perello?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Do either of the board members have any items for future agendas?
None for me, sir. No.
I have none. Okay, number one, I'll take a moment here. I'd like to wish everyone a good Thanksgiving. I attended a funeral today for an individual who worked for the city of Oxnard for 24 years in the water department. And there were some comments made that I believe need to be shared, and I find inappropriate. They talked about protecting the water. And oftentimes people think that it's possibly the people up here or the people on certain floors in the building that know how to do everything. And actually it's the man and woman on the street that know how to do everything. The comment was made somewhat, if they asked me, which way do I turn the valve, I might give them the wrong answer. The professionals that work for the city and public works know how to do that. And one of the other things that was made that was near and dear to me was a comment by the family members of the individual that died, Mr. David Hendricks. They talked about they can't count on one finger the days that he called in sick in 24 years. And they always wondered why I always worked. And they talked about type of time in history when the generations were. People had a job, and they did their job, and they showed up. And a little more than that. They knew the responsibilities of taking care of a family, showing up and doing the work, and coming back home and doing it again when there was always the option to go somewhere else. And they did that. And I'd just like to close with that because there's a heck of a lot of good men and women that work for this city and in this nation. And I think it needed to be commented. I wanted to comment on it, and I did. Thank you very much. And I hope you enjoy your holiday. Remember, even the people that just have, shall we say, famous poem, Kurds and Ways, they have something, because there's always somebody that has nothing. Count your blessings. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, thank you. And I also want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and all our city employees and all our residents here in Oxnard and in Ventura County and for that matter, you know. So we're blessed. Thank you.
Yeah, and I hope everyone else enjoys the holidays this weekend and gets some nice family and friend relaxation time. Thank you.
With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.